A TA family dinner, I said. I'm excited for the wedding next week. My sister laughed. What? IT's already over. My Mill showed me her phone. There was a picture of the wedding. My sister smirked. Oops, I gave you the wrong date, lol. I walked away in silence. But they were the ones who regretted IT. In a quiet residential neighborhood in the Boston suburbs, soft sunlight filtered through the swaying trees, illuminating the living room of Elizabeth Morrison's house. Elizabeth, known as Liz, sat in a chair by the window, gazing at the colorful flowers blooming in her garden. Her shoulder-length hair, though having lost some of its former fullness, was steadily returning to its original state. Liz held her coffee cup with both hands, feeling its warmth as she took a deep breath. The sensation of living a second life filled her heart each day. Her smartphone's ringtone broke the silence. Her mother's name appeared on the screen. Liz, how are you? Are you ready for dinner tonight? Martha's voice had a hint of tension beneath its usual warmth. Liz smiled and replied, yes, I'm ready. 6, right? Dad said he'll bring wine, and Ashley and Jason are coming too. I've invited Jason's parents as well. Martha's voice rose slightly. Thomas and Carol are very proper people, so don't worry, Liz said reassuringly. Jason's parents are very warm people. Thomas in particular has shown interest in my work, and Carol is always concerned about my health. After ending the call, Liz moved to her home office. Her computer screen displayed a folder labeled, Gift for the Hamiltons. She checked information about a real estate property and bank transfer preparations, then smiled with satisfaction. At that moment, a memory from 2 years ago came vividly to mind. White hospital room walls, the rhythmic dripping sound of an fourth. Liz lay in bed, pale, her hair fallen out. Martha and George sat worriedly in the corner, while Ashley stood in the doorway, clearly uncomfortable. Get well soon, Ashley said, but her eyes kept darting to the clock on the wall. But I have to go now. I have a date with Mike. Ashley, Martha scolded. This is a difficult time for Liz. Ashley shrugged. I have my own life too. I wish you'd stop making Liz's illness the topic of every conversation. Liz shook her head to dispel the memory. Ashley has grown too, she whispered to herself. She has a right to be happy. Another memory emerged. Dr. Grayson sitting across from Liz. Elizabeth, congratulations. Your test results are good. I can say you're in remission. Tears welled up in Liz's eyes. However, complete recovery will still take time. Your strength will return gradually. And most importantly, spend time with your loved ones. This is a good opportunity to consider what truly matters in life. Liz stood up and gazed at the view from her window. She placed her hand on her chest, savoring the feeling of being alive. Then she picked up Ashley's wedding invitation and gently traced the date, April 15th, with her finger. How wonderful to see my sister on her special day, she smiled. Opening her closet, Liz took out a light blue dress. Modest, yet elegant. This won't draw too much attention at Ashley's wedding, she thought. She didn't want to steal the spotlight on her sister's important day. Liz's phone rang. It was Jason. Hey Liz, looking forward to dinner tonight. By the way, I really like that property in Brookline you told me about. I'm keeping it a secret from Ashley for now. Liz smiled. I'm glad you liked it. That property is perfect for you too. Leave the further proceedings to me. Let's avoid talking about real estate at dinner tonight so we don't spoil the surprise. Jason expressed his gratitude and hung up. Sunday evening in the spacious dining room of the Morrison home. The table was adorned with flowers and fine china, with crystal glasses filled with deep red wine. Liz, her parents Martha and George, Ashley and Jason's parents Thomas and Carol Hamilton were seated. Martha proudly announced as she carried in a silver tray with roast beef. Today's roast beef is one of Liz's favorite recipes. When she was sick, she said, "When I get better, I want to eat Mom's roast beef." Thomas Hamilton smiled warmly at Liz. Elizabeth, your recovery is truly miraculous. It's a great joy for our family too. Jason always talks about your courage. Liz responded politely, though a bit embarrassed. Thank you, Thomas. I learned a lot from this experience, especially how precious time with family is. Ashley shifted uncomfortably in her seat. Adorned with flashy jewelry, she raised her voice as if trying to become the center of attention. Hey everyone, don't you want to hear about our honeymoon plans? We've decided to go to Bali. As dinner progressed and conversation flowed, Liz said with a warm smile, I'm really looking forward to next week's wedding. My health has improved, and I'm so happy to see my sister on her special day. Suddenly the table fell silent. Ashley put down her fork and looked puzzled. The wedding? That's already over. She gave a small laugh. What? Liz said, confused. But the invitation said April 15th, didn't it? She took out her smartphone from her handbag and opened an image of the saved invitation. Oh, that's the old invitation. Ashley shrugged. We changed it to last weekend at the last minute. I wanted a small ceremony. Liz felt the blood drain from her face. But aren't I family? Suddenly, Jason's mother Carol spoke up. It was a lovely ceremony. She took out her smartphone. Look, I have pictures. Carol, unaware of the situation, was about to show the photos, but a momentary panic flashed across Ashley's face. Liz slowly peered at Carol's phone screen. There were indeed wedding photos, a typical American-style wedding, a garden ceremony, white tent, altar decorated with flowers. Ashley in her white dress, smiling parents, all of Jason's family, a group photo with friends. But Liz was nowhere to be found. Liz watched Carol's hand as she swiped through the photos. Not a single image included her. Ashley, what's going on? Liz's voice trembled. Why was I the only one who didn't know? Not even an invitation. Ashley grinned and said lightly, I guess I gave you the wrong date. Sorry. She picked up her wineglass and took a sip. I've been so busy lately. Jason looked uncomfortable and apologetic as he glanced at his sister-in-law. Liz, I thought invitations were sent. I'm really sorry. Martha looked at Ashley. Why would you do something like this? Ashley responded with slight irritation. It's not a big deal, is it? Liz was sick and had no energy. Can you imagine everyone fussing over her during the ceremony? It was my day. Liz felt the blood drain from her face. Her parents were looking at Ashley with confused expressions. Across the table, Thomas and Carol also appeared shocked. Liz slowly stood up and simply said, I see, before leaving the dining room without another word. Through the door she could hear Ashley saying, Aren't you being a bit too sensitive? It's a wedding, the best day of my life. Everything needed to be perfect. As Liz headed for the front door, she also heard Thomas's low, stern voice. Ashley, I value family above all else. This kind of behavior. Liz went outside, got into her car, and took a deep breath, fighting back tears. She took out her cell phone and opened her banking app. She displayed a $100,000 transfer reservation saved under Ashley and Jason new home gift and pressed the cancel button. A confirmation screen appeared. Liz hesitated momentarily but pressed the confirm button. The screen displayed the message, Transfer has been cancelled. She started the car engine. The next morning, Liz sat in front of her computer with a calm but determined expression. She opened an email draft and typed the subject line, regarding the Brookline property. To Joseph, I've decided to cancel the property reservation for the Hamilton couple. Due to family circumstances, there has been a change in my support plans. I apologize, but please offer it to other clients. After pressing the send a button, Liz picked up her cell phone and made a call. Helen. It's Liz. I have a message for the real estate agent network in the Boston area. About the Hamilton couple, specifically Ashley and Jason. Liz continued while writing in her notepad, Yes, exactly. If they're looking for properties, I'd like them to be handled as currently in process or sold. Duration, 3 months. She thought for a moment and added, No, this is a personal matter. Until they find some other means. After hanging up, Liz gazed out the window. She wasn't feeling satisfied but rather sad. This hurts more than when I was sick, she whispered. That afternoon, Liz's phone rang. Jason's name appeared on the screen. Liz hesitated for a moment but answered. Liz, I'm truly sorry about yesterday. Jason's voice was sincere. I had no idea. About the change in wedding plans, about you not being invited? Liz replied calmly. Jason, it's not your fault. But there's something I can't understand. How someone could deliberately exclude her own sister from her wedding. Especially a sister who has just returned from the brink of death? After a silence, Jason said in a small voice. I don't understand either. I talked to Ashley, but she says Liz's presence would dampen the mood of the wedding. That everyone would sympathize with Liz and ruin her special day. I see. Liz's voice was cold. I can understand her point. Jason quickly added, But I don't think that way. My family is upset too. Especially my father. He values family bonds above all, and knowing what you've been through. Liz tried to end the conversation. Jason, you're a good person. But I need more time right now. I understand. I just wanted to tell you, that property we were looking at in Brookline, we're planning to see it tomorrow. I want to show it to Ashley. Liz exhaled softly. I see, good luck. The next day Liz's phone rang. She took a deep breath before answering. Liz? What's going on? Ashley's voice was filled with anger. All the houses we were looking at have suddenly been marked as under contract. Properties that were on the market just last week, suddenly, all of them. And real estate agents all have strange reactions when they hear my name. Liz responded coolly. The real estate market is changeable. Spring especially is an active time for properties. But Jason said that even the Brookline property you recommended suddenly became in process. What's going on? Liz answered concisely. I've decided not to be involved anymore. What do you mean? Ashley's voice rose even higher. Ashley, you didn't invite me to your wedding. You thought that atmosphere would be better without me, right? Similarly, I believe you can purchase real estate without my help. A sharp intake of breath was audible from the other end. No way, are you getting revenge on me? What's the point of that? Liz said quietly. It's not revenge. I'm simply reconsidering how I use my time and resources. I've realized you don't need me. A week later, an emergency family meeting was being held in the Morrison family's living room. Liz, her parents, Ashley and Jason's parents were all present. The air was filled with tension. Thomas spoke first. Though suppressing his anger, he began with a dignified voice. Ashley, as a judge for many years, I've seen many family disputes, and I value my own family above all else. Your deliberate exclusion of your sister from the wedding goes against our family values. Jason is deeply hurt too. Ashley tried to argue, but Jason stopped her. Wait, Ashley, listen. We were rejected for a mortgage, and when we investigated, somehow real estate agents across Boston seemed to be avoiding us out of consideration for your sister. Ashley looked at Liz with an expression of anger and confusion. What have you done? Are you trying to ruin our lives? Liz said quietly. I had prepared $100,000 as a down payment for your new home as a wedding gift. She took out her smartphone and showed the cancel transfer screen, and I had secured a special property. But it seems I'm no longer needed. Martha gasped. $100,000, Liz, you. Ashley was stunned. $100,000, no. That can't be, it's not a lie. Liz also showed the history of the canceled transfer reservation. I sincerely wished for your happiness. From my experience of facing death, I learned that family bonds are the most important thing. But you made a different choice. Jason was so shocked he was at a loss for words. Ashley's face had turned pale, and she seemed to be feeling real fear for the first time. A tense silence dominated the living room. Ashley finally spoke. Liz, I didn't know. Her voice trembled. Liz calmly said, You didn't need to know. It was supposed to be a surprise. But why such a large sum? Ashley was confused. Because you're my sister, Liz answered simply. I wanted your happiness. I wanted to bless your new beginning in life. Jason's mother Carol said, Ashley, what have you done? Liz has just returned from the brink of death, after being told by doctors that time spent with loved ones is precious. Thomas was also looking at Ashley with a stern expression. You don't seem to understand the gravity of your actions. Disregarding family bonds is unacceptable according to our values. Martha sat next to Ashley and said sadly, Why? Liz has always cared about you. Ashley finally began to understand the seriousness of the situation and started making excuses. I just didn't want to ruin my glamorous wedding. I thought if Liz came, everyone's attention would go to her. If the sister who overcame cancer came, my special day would turn into her comeback party. Liz's father said in a cold voice, Is that your excuse? You couldn't share the joy of recovery with your sister after she faced death? Jason covered his face with both hands. We're in debt, from the wedding costs, and we can't find a new home. He looked at Liz. Did you have something to do with our mortgage application? Liz answered honestly. Without my down payment contribution, your debt-to-income ratio might have changed, affecting your application. And I did tell real estate agents to hold off on dealing with you for now. Thomas stood up and said sternly, Ashley, I expect honesty and family values in my son's spouse. I need to reconsider whether you are appropriate as my son's life partner. Ashley turned pale. What do you mean? Carol placed her hand on her husband's shoulder and quietly said, We'll have to reconsider the financial support we promised for the marriage too. Tears welled up in Ashley's eyes. But we're already married. Legally? Thomas maintained his stern expression. Law is my specialty. Dissolving a marriage is complex, but not impossible. Especially in cases involving fraudulent actions. Jason stared at Ashley, then stood up and walked to the window. His expression was filled with agony. I love you, Ashley. But this is beyond my imagination. I couldn't do this to my sister. Martha and George sat silently. Their faces showed deep sadness. Liz slowly stood up. Everyone, I don't think we need to continue this conversation. She spoke gently but firmly. Ashley, I don't condemn your choices. I just accept them. Just as you don't need me, I won't interfere in your life. But, Ashley's voice trembled. Liz smiled. It seems I'm no longer your sister, just an acquaintance. That's fine. Facing death taught me many things. Liz picked up her handbag. Let's end here for today. Everyone, please enjoy your meal. As she headed for the door, Jason hurried after her. Liz, wait. My family is deeply grateful to you. And I want to express my respect for your courage. Liz thought for a moment, then said, Jason, you might need to work on your judgment of people. She smiled gently. But that's your life, your choice. As Liz opened the door, Ashley cried out, Liz, please come back. Let's talk. If it's about the $100,000, Liz didn't look back. This isn't about money, Ashley. It's about trust and respect. And what family means. She quietly closed the door and took a deep breath of fresh air outside. The soft spring breeze caressed her hair. Liz took out her smartphone and opened her banking app. She set up a new transfer procedure and titled it Donation to Cancer Patient Support Foundation. She entered $100,000 in the amount field and tapped confirm. Life is short, but if used for meaningful things, it lasts forever, Liz whispered as she looked up at the sky. Then she got into her car and drove off toward a new tomorrow. Inside the house, Ashley sat with a desperate expression. As all the family members stared at her, Jason's father Thomas solemnly said, "Ashley, today you lost the most valuable thing in life. It's not $100,000 but true family bonds." Martha pressed a handkerchief to her eyes and said, "To think my daughter has grown into such a person." Ashley seemed to truly understand the weight of her actions for the first time. Large tears fell from her eyes. But it was too late. Perhaps too late to repair what she had broken. In a lush park in the Boston suburbs, on a weekend afternoon with the early summer sun shining, Liz sat on a bench in the shade. Her hair now reached past her shoulders, regaining more of its former fullness. On her lap was a small notebook and a fountain pen, and beside her sat a take-out iced tea. Elizabeth Morrison? Liz looked up to see a man standing there. He wore elegant casual wear and had a gentle smile. "I'm Daniel Bradley. Thank you for your time." Liz smiled and gestured to the seat next to her. "The pleasure is mine. Please sit down." Daniel sat on the bench appearing slightly nervous. Living a Second Life, a cancer survivor's memoir. It really moved me. Especially the chapter about family relationships, it struck a chord. Liz nodded quietly. Her book, published 6 months ago, had become an unexpected bestseller. The candid account of her experience facing death and rebuilding relationships had resonated with many people. "I'm ready for the interview," Liz said. For the Ella Boston Healthy article, focusing on cancer survivors' daily lives and psychological aspects, right? Yes. What many readers want to know is what the transition to normal life after treatment is like. Daniel opened his notebook. Especially how relationships change. Liz's cell phone rang. She looked at the screen and her expression darkened slightly. "Excuse me, I need to take this." Answering the phone, she asked, "Helen? What is it?" "Liz, Ashley contacted us again." Helen's voice sounded tired. "That's the 3rd time this month alone," Liz sighed. "I understand. Handle it as usual." After hanging up, Liz turned to Daniel with an apologetic expression. "That was a work call. Shall we return to the interview?" Daniel suggested. "For the first question, how has your outlook on life changed after experiencing cancer?" Liz gazed into the distance. "I don't worry about small things anymore, and I've started living my life based on my own values, not others' expectations." At the same time, in a small apartment in downtown Boston, Ashley stood by the window, her expression mixed fatigue and regret. On the table was a pile of bills and an open laptop. The screen displayed an email with the subject, "Final Notice of Divorce Proceedings." The door opened, and Thomas entered. His expression, though stern, showed compassion. "Ashley, the discussions are over. I'm here as Jason's representative." He handed her an envelope containing documents. "This is the final proposal." Ashley took the envelope but didn't open it. "Thomas, can I still not see Liz?" Thomas shook his head. "She has stated clearly, she doesn't want to be involved anymore. But about that $100,000, that's irrelevant now." Thomas's voice was cold. "She donated that money to a cancer patient support foundation. What you took from her wasn't money, but trust." Ashley gazed out the window. Her once glamorous life had changed dramatically over the past year. The divorce from Jason, the withdrawal of financial support from the Hamilton family, and the collapse of her relationships. Her reputation in the Boston real estate industry had also plummeted. "I was truly foolish," she whispered. Thomas's expression softened slightly. "Everyone makes mistakes. The issue is how you act afterward. I read Liz's book." Ashley turned around. "Though she changed my name, anyone would know it's me. She hasn't forgiven me." "Forgiveness and rebuilding a relationship are different things," Thomas said. "She doesn't hate you. She's just keeping her distance to protect her own peace." Liz's interview was nearing its conclusion. "Last question," Daniel said. "Do you have any advice for readers whose family relationships have been damaged?" Liz chose her words carefully. "I don't think there's such a thing as a perfect family relationship. Sometimes deep wounds are inflicted. What's important is not to lose sight of your own value, and to have the courage to distance yourself when necessary." She picked up her teacup. "But at the same time, it's important not to close your heart. I lost my relationship with my sister, but I found a new chosen family. Friends and fellow survivors who share similar experiences." Daniel noted down her final words. "Thank you for this wonderful interview." As Liz was preparing to leave, her smartphone rang. It was a text message from Ashley. To Liz. I may not be able to return the $100,000, or your trust, but at least let me apologize. Before I sign the papers, please meet with me just once. Liz stared at the message for a long time. Then she began typing a reply to Ashley. I've already moved on. You should do the same. Don't worry about the $100,000, that was my choice. However, Liz paused, thinking deeply. Then she continued. Coffee would be fine. Next Tuesday, at the cafe on Newbury Street. 11 o'clock. From Liz. After pressing the send button, she looked up at the sky. It might not be complete forgiveness, but she understood better than anyone that life is short and unpredictable. Living a second life means having the courage to make new choices. Liz whispered to herself as if in self-affirmation. Then she stood up and took a new step forward. In the Boston sky, a cloudless blue stretched as far as the eye could see.